Imagine a brash American real estate tycoon stepping off a plane in Tokyo, eyeing the quaint wooden houses with a smirk, convinced his steel and concrete empires would revolutionize the landscape. Little did he know, the ground beneath his feet held secrets forged over centuries that would humble his ambitions in the most dramatic way. In the early 1990s, John Harlan, a successful investor from New York, had made his fortune building high-rise apartments in bustling American cities. Known for his no-nonsense approach, Harlan prided himself on modern construction techniques that emphasized strength through rigidity. He viewed traditional methods as relics of the past, inefficient and outdated in a world of progress. Harlan's interest in Japan sparked during a business conference where he learned about the country's booming economy and frequent seismic activity. Intrigued by the challenge, he decided to expand his operations there, seeing an opportunity to introduce what he called unbreakable buildings. He believed Japan's reliance on wooden structures was a weakness waiting to be exploited. Upon arriving in Kobe, a vibrant port city, Harlan was immediately struck by the prevalence of traditional homes, known as minka or kominka. These houses, with their sloping tiled roofs and wooden frames, dotted the neighborhoods. He chuckled at their simplicity, often remarking to his team that they looked like they could be blown over by a strong wind, let alone an earthquake. Local architects and builders tried to explain the ingenuity behind these designs. They described how the post and beam system, using interlocking joints without nails, allowed the structures to flex and absorb shocks. Harlan dismissed it as folklore, insisting that his reinforced concrete foundations would provide true stability. He secured land and began planning a modern apartment complex, touting it as earthquake-proof through sheer solidity. As construction progressed, Harlan engaged with the community, hosting meetings where he showcased blueprints of his rigid towers. He openly critiqued the nearby wooden homes, saying they represented a bygone era unfit for modern living. Residents listened politely, but some shared stories of how their ancestors' houses had withstood tremors for generations, thanks to flexible connections that let the buildings move with the earth. Harlan's project featured thick concrete walls and steel reinforcements, designed to stand firm against any force. He invested heavily in marketing, positioning his buildings as the future of safe housing in Japan. Meanwhile, he rented a traditional wooden home temporarily, though he complained about its creaks and drafts, reinforcing his bias against such architecture. One evening, over sake with a Japanese colleague, Harlan learned about the shinbashira, the central pillar in ancient pagodas that acts like a spine, bending during quakes while layers shift independently. He laughed it off, comparing it to a child's toy. His colleague smiled knowingly, mentioning how the Toji Temple's pagoda near Kyoto had endured countless shakes over centuries. Undeterred, Harlan pushed forward, completing his first building by late 1994. It was a sleek, multi-story complex with all the modern amenities, central heating, elevators, and panoramic views. Tenants moved in, attracted by the promise of unbreakable security. Harlan felt vindicated, often touring the site and pointing out how his methods surpassed the flimsy wooden neighbors. In the quiet hours before dawn on January 17, 1995, the ground began to rumble. What started as a low growl escalated into violent shaking as the Great Hanshin Earthquake struck with a magnitude of 6.9. The epicenter was near Kobe, unleashing waves of destruction that tested every structure in its path. Harlan awoke to chaos, his traditional rental house swaying like a ship on waves, but holding firm. Outside, he witnessed the horror. Roads buckled, fires erupted, and buildings crumpled. His modern complex, designed to resist through rigidity, suffered severe cracks and partial collapses as the unyielding materials transferred the quake's energy directly into fractures. In contrast, many traditional wooden homes in the area remained standing. Their flexible joints and stone foundations, where pillars rested loosely on rocks, allowed them to slide and dissipate the forces. Reports later showed that structures built with these ancient techniques fared better, with less structural failure compared to some rigid modern ones built before updated codes. As rescue efforts unfolded, Harlan wandered the streets, stunned by the resilience of the mocked wooden houses. Neighbors whose homes survived offered shelter to those displaced, including some from his damaged apartments. He saw firsthand how the interlocking hozotsugi joints in traditional frames had absorbed the shocks, preventing total ruin. The earthquake claimed over 6,000 lives and caused widespread devastation, but it highlighted the wisdom in Japan's architectural heritage. Harlan's project required extensive repairs, costing millions, while nearby Kominka needed only minor fixes. He began to question his assumptions, realizing that strength sometimes lies in adaptability rather than inflexibility. In the aftermath, experts analyzed the damage, noting how pre-1981 buildings, often more rigid, accounted for 97% of collapses. Traditional elements, like mud walls reinforced with bamboo lattice, provided natural damping, reducing vibrations. Harlan attended seminars on seismic design, learning how modern innovations were now incorporating these age-old principles. Gradually, Harlan shifted his approach. He collaborated with local engineers to retrofit his buildings with base isolation systems, rubber bearings that mimic the sliding stone foundations of old. This hybrid method combined his modern vision with traditional flexibility, creating structures that could sway without breaking. The experience transformed Harlan personally. He extended his stay in the traditional house, appreciating its harmony with nature. He shared meals with neighbors, hearing tales of how their homes had been passed down through families, each generation adding subtle improvements based on past quakes. Years later, Harlan returned to the U.S., but not before establishing a foundation in Japan to promote blended architecture. He advocated for respecting cultural wisdom in development, often recounting his humbling encounter with the earthquake as a lesson in humility. Today, Japan's buildings continue to evolve, drawing from both eras. The story of Harlan serves as a reminder that innovation thrives when it honors the past, ensuring safer homes for future generations in the face of nature's unpredictable power. The narrative underscores a universal truth. What appears weak may hold profound strength, proven time and again by the Earth's own trials. Harlan's journey from mockery to admiration inspires builders worldwide to look beyond the surface and embrace enduring lessons from tradition.